Welcome back to another week of Eye of the Storm, a Guelph Storm podcast with myself, Ryan Drury, the voice of the Guelph Storm on Rogers TV. Very pleased to be joined by another member of the squad who is unfortunately out with an injury right now, but we're all looking forward to having him back in the lineup for a hopefully deep playoff run. Michael Buchinger. Bush, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you joining me. I know, obviously, as I mentioned, with the shoulder injury, you've had a bit of downtime, but I know you were just saying before we jumped on here, you've been able to kind of get back in the gym and work out. I think everybody in Storm Nation is wondering, how's the shoulder feeling and how is kind of going through the procedure and the recovery process so far?
Yeah, it's going well. It's actually my thumb, so I'm actually pretty lucky. I mean, I'm still like able to do a lot of exercises. I got a good program from St. Louis, which has been nice. So I mean, I've been in the gym for about the last 2 weeks now, which has been good, and I'm just kind of coming back to skate. So it's been good. I mean, I've been working, and I'm just really itching to get back right now, and get back joining the boys' plan. So.
Well, when you've been out on the ice this year, you've had a fantastic year, 39 points in the 40 games you have played. You had a 67-point effort last year, and you were among the leaders in defensemen in terms of assists and power play points. You're a veteran on the team now. I mean, how does that feel? Because it feels like we were watching your rookie season yesterday and time's flown by. I mean, how have you enjoyed kind of growing into a veteran from being just a young kid a couple years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. I was talking to some of the guys on the team about that, and like I remember it like it was yesterday too. I mean, I remember coming to the league and being a young guy and kind of looking up to the veteran players on the team at the time, and being an older guy now, it's crazy. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but I mean, it just goes to show you how fun the OHL is and how awesome junior hockey is, and it's been a blast. I mean, I've made some great friendships. I've been, it's been, awesome playing for the Storm, and like it's a great organization, obviously. So, I mean, I'm really fortunate, but it's crazy how fast it's all flown by.
Take us back, to obviously you mentioned St. Louis, and we'll talk about that too, because of course you're a St. Louis Blues prospect, but take us all the way back to draft day and finding out you were going to be coming to the Royal City. I remember when they drafted you, me and Steve Fitzsimmons at the time, who was still calling the games, we were told that the biggest thing that stood out about you was your poise on the ice. And has that ever rung true? You never look like you're flustered out there. You're so calm. What was it like getting the call and finding out that you were going to become a member of the Guelph Storm?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really exciting time for myself and my family. I mean, I wasn't the biggest guy, so at the time, the OHL was, a league I really wanted to play in, and something I'd looked forward to for many years. I mean, just finding out I was coming into Guelph was really cool, and I had heard a lot of good things about Guelph, and leading up to the draft, I had talked to them a couple of times. So, I mean, getting my name called by Guelph was really cool. And then when I came here and kind of visited the city, I was really impressed, and the whole organization, how professional it is, and obviously how amazing the city is, and the fan base has been awesome, and more than what I could have dreamt for my junior hockey career. So it's been great.
Well, you've delivered the fans a lot of great moments, and we'll touch on some of those as well. But I want to go even further back. I know that you're from the Markham area. What was it like growing up there? A great hockey hotbed, and I know you spent time playing for the Toronto Junior Canadians program, which is a very well respected minor hockey program. Take us all the way back to when you were a little kid, kind of falling in love with the game. Who are some people that really stand out on your hockey journey getting here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy journey. Obviously, every kid has their own story. I started out obviously in Markham and just kind of played locally there. And my parents never really forced it on me. I mean, they were awesome. They knew I enjoyed it, but they never pushed me too hard. And when they saw that I was getting more into the game, they obviously helped me benefit my game through skills and practicing like outside of my team, obviously. But I mean, it was great. I still remember those early mornings, like 6 a.m. on a Saturday, and both my parents waking up and driving me to a little Timbix game in Markham. And those are the memories I think you really remember. And I mean, it's been a crazy journey, and obviously there's been a lot of milestones, and I'm really fortunate. But I think just kind of thinking back to those early days in Markham and on the Markham Waxers and with JRC, it's been a crazy ride. But I think I really owe a lot to my parents. I mean, they've been and stuck with me through it all, and they've supported me through everything. I mean, I've been cut from teams. I've made some nice teams. I've made some big teams, and I think it's been awesome just to kind of go through that with them, and I think they want all the best for me. So I think those two people really stick out for me for sure.
Well said, and I'm sure that they appreciate that. And obviously, you come to the OHL, and you really didn't look out of place right from your first game. I'm sure you felt the nerves and everything like that. But to us up in the booth, I mean, you looked like you were a league veteran pretty much from day one. You've always been very smooth out there and very low panic threshold, I would say, and that all ultimately led up to a pretty big moment for you a couple years ago, obviously, and that was getting drafted into the NHL. What was that experience like, getting the call from the St. Louis Blues, a very well-respected organization, third overall, 88th in the draft, in the third round, I should say. What was that experience like? I'm sure that was a pretty big phone call.
Yeah, it was obviously a dream come true. I think I've dreamt about that moment for a lot of my career and my whole life. So I think to get the call and to be named to the St. Louis Blues was obviously a dream come true. And I think that whole year was a big process. I mean, obviously I missed my original 16-year-old year to COVID. So I think just jumping right into my first year, which was also my draft year, was definitely a big deal. And I think I didn't have much time to just kind of spend my time, feeling things out. So it was really cool. And I was really fortunate to have some great coaches and some great teammates to kind of, push me through it and, learn from them from their experiences as well. But I think, it was a crazy, crazy year, a lot of phone calls, lots of, cool interviews and stuff like that. And I think, I was fortunate enough to be named to St. Louis on draft day. So, I mean, it was a really cool experience at the draft in Montreal as well. So definitely some things I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And then obviously, they always say this, getting drafted is the first step. There's a lot of work after that, and you put a lot of work in, and that all culminated, of course, in putting your name on an NHL contract, which is the next big step. What was that experience like, putting that pen down on that paper? I'm sure you've never scribbled your name down faster. What was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing as well. And I think, again, I think like you said, getting drafted is only the start. And I think obviously signing's, a very big deal. And I was, really happy to ink that contract. But I think it just kind of made me realize that there's, a lot of work after that as well. And I mean, it never really stops. I mean, there's so many steps before you even get to play your first game or even get a sniff at professional hockey, right? So I mean, it was awesome, and I was really fortunate to spend it with some great people like my parents, my family, and some of the teammates and some of my friends back home. But I think it was a really cool, exciting time. But I think it just kind of made me realize that it's another step in the journey. It's a long journey, so I mean, there's a lot of work ahead of me still, but it was really cool.
I'm sure it was. And, it was about a month ago, I want to say, that Blues general manager Doug Armstrong was up in the box, and he was seated not very far from us. I managed to have a brief conversation with him. And of course, you came up, and I asked him, if there was one word that you could use to describe Michael, what would it be? And he said precise. His game is very precise. I'll actually read you one of your draft reports heading into that draft. Buchinger does not just support the play, and he's never caught pinching. He can deke defenders and attack the middle and set his teammates up. After beating one defender, he can pass and get into space. On the power play, the additional structure sees the passing and activation-focused Buchinger thrive. What do you think of that draft report? I think it sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a nice compliment, but I mean, I just try and play my game, and I think I have a pretty good idea of who I am as a player and what I bring. So I think I just try to play my strengths every night and improve the areas I need improving, and I think there's always those areas that I need to work on too. So I think it's definitely a nice compliment coming from a guy like Doug Armstrong or quotes like that, but I think it's cool. And, obviously every player has their own style of game as well. So I just try and play to my strengths. But
Well, and I know it's a different journey for every player, kind of finding out what that is and being comfortable in your skin out there on the ice. And I mean, I liked his word that he used as well, very precise. And that's the way you've always struck us. you seem very confident in the way you play. And so I wonder, like, along your journey, when you were younger, kind of taking bits and pieces from different people, your coaches, obviously, things like that. Were there guys maybe in the NHL or even maybe guys you played with that you looked at and thought, man, I'd really like to play like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've grown up I've always watched, NHL games and OHL games as well. So I've watched guys like Vince Dunn my whole life and Chris Letang and these guys I try and model my game after, and obviously they're very successful at the next level. So I think it's good to watch those guys who I try and model my game after. And I was fortunate enough to play on a really strong team in minor hockey, and I had a lot of teammates who were very strong players. So I kind of always try to watch guys around me, stuff I like from certain guys' games, and there's always guys around you who are really good at one thing, and then another guys are really good at another thing. So just kind of trying to soak in all their different talents and trying to implement it into your own game, obviously, and knowing who you are and how you can use that for yourself to be a threat out there on the ice. But I think obviously watching hockey is very important and very crucial. So I mean, just kind of watching, like I said, Letang and Dunn at the next level has been very important for me as well.
I think those are great role models for you, man. I mean, you definitely, I can see that. I can see why that makes sense for sure. Let's talk a bit about the season so far. Obviously, I know you're injured right now and you can't wait to get back on the ice, but you've been part of some pretty significant moments and it was really, an exclamation mark moment for you, I think, the teddy bear toss goal. Everybody wants to score that one and you're the one to do it this year and it was a lot of fun to see that moment. What was it like scoring that goal? It's one people are going to remember, and I'm sure you and your family will for a long time.
Yeah, it was an awesome goal. It's always an exciting time to play in and an exciting game to play in, obviously. But I think to get that goal is important for me, and I think it was kind of around that time where I just gotten cut from the World Junior team. So I think that little bit of confidence was really important for me, and I think scoring that goal, meant a lot more than just the Bears flying out as well. So I think it was a cool moment for me and my family, and I was lucky that I was on the ice with Jake, who made a nice play there, but. I mean, it was an exciting moment for me.
Yeah, it was exciting for us too. I don't know if you could tell we were excited upstairs. It was a fun
Yeah.
one to call for sure. You mentioned obviously Hockey Canada and going to World Junior Camp. I know you're disappointed not to make the team and everything, but that experience had to be pretty cool. And I'm sure that when eventually you walked away and got over the disappointment of not being picked, I'm sure that it settled in as a pretty cool moment to be one of the very few people that get invited to that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was, obviously another dream come true, and I mean, obviously, it was very disappointing to be cut from that team. But like every year, Canada's always a very talented, group, and there's always a lot of really good players, and it's always a pretty deep squad. So I think just to get the nod to go to camp was a really cool experience, and to play with some of the best players from Canada, and see some household names who will, I'm sure, play in the NHL in the coming years is was a really cool experience. And I think just kind of learning from that and learning what I need to do better moving forward was, it meant a lot to me. And just thinking back to it, I think obviously, like you said, it was disappointing at first, but just kind of remembering that I was one of the few names to be named to that camp is exciting in itself. So
Absolutely. I thought it was a tremendous honor for you to go and we were all cheering for you obviously, but hey, you're going to have a lot of big moments ahead of you in your career. I'm definitely sure of that. Let's talk a little bit
thank you.
about your team this year. I've had a bunch of your teammates on already. We're deep into the show and everybody says the same thing to me, man. The group's so special this year. The group's so special. The guys are so tight. I mean, I walk by you guys all the time in the rink and everything and I bump into you up in the booth now. Like you guys are real tight. Even the guys that are maybe injured or scratched, you guys are all hanging out upstairs. Like it seems like you guys all can't get enough of each other. It's got to feel pretty darn special. What's the room like?
Yeah, it's a tremendous group. I think we're a very tight team. And I think what's made us so tight is we've faced adversity before, and I think we've had a really strong core group, from my rookie year, and I think just adding more and more guys who just seem to fit right in, like with our original group is really important. And I think some of these guys are my best friends who I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. So I think it's, it makes coming to the rink every day, maybe during a losing streak, or, if you have a bad game, it makes it pretty easy to, look around and, play for one another. And I think, obviously hockey is a team sport, right? So I think it just helps that much more when you can rely on your teammates and your brothers to go to battle every night. But I mean, just it's always fun coming to the rink every day and playing sewer ball, or going to the gym together, or playing a game together, or grabbing dinner that night after practice. It's always a blast hanging out with the guys. So I think it's really important, and I'm really fortunate to have the teammates I do.
Yeah, it certainly shows. You guys look like you're having a lot of fun together all the time, and I wonder what it's like for you two specifically on the D core. I mean, there's a couple pretty impressive young rookies on your team this year on the back end. Quinn Beauchene, who just continues, he seems to get better and better every game. Rylan Singh, same thing, gold medal this year at the under 17s. I wonder what it's been like for you, because I'm sure they turn to you now as kind of a guy to learn from, what that transition's been like and what that experience is like for you. Because when you came in, of course, Daniil Chayka was around and Luca Profaco was around. Like, you had great veterans to lean on. Now you're that guy to the next generation. What's that relationship like?
Yeah, I mean, it's really special, and like you said, being an older guy in the league now, I think it's a responsibility, and I think it's really cool position to be in as well. And I remember coming into the league and meeting guys like Shakes and Fax. They're great guys, great people, but also really talented hockey players as well. So to come in to the league and kind of for them to show you the reins and show you how it's done is really important. And I think it's a really important thing to have a veteran player that you can trust and rely on and watch and learn from. And I think I learned so much from those two guys, and even my partner who was a rookie at the time, Alan, as well. I think it's really important to have a guy near you who can push you, and then guys you can look up to as well. So I think, I mean, I'm really fortunate for the kind of spot I was put in at as a rookie. But I think being an older guy now, obviously we have a talented group of young guys, and Quinner and Singer on the back end are obviously very talented as well. And I'm just trying to be a mentor and a veteran to them as well. And I can see them getting better every day. And I mean, it's almost like cool to see as a veteran to watch your rookies get better and better. And I think obviously they're gonna have a talented future. So I think it's really special for me.
Well, I know those two guys, just talking with them, and I saw quite a bit of Quinn, obviously, when he was out with his injury, just talking about the influence that you've had on them. So I think that's very special, and obviously you take it really seriously, being a mentor to those guys, and I think that's an admirable trait, and definitely a leadership trait that's going to make your NHL team very happy someday, if it's not already. I wonder a little bit as well, just about, I've asked all your teammates this, what kind of equipment you prefer, what kind of skates are you rocking with, and are you very particular about your equipment? Because I've had some of your teammates say they don't care, they'll just throw it on. And I've had Tommy Budnick admitted to me that he might be the worst guy in the league. He said he's so particular with his equipment. Are you like that? And what kind of skates and stick are you using?
No, I wouldn't say I'm like particularly, superstitious or anything about my equipment or what I put on first or anything like that. But I pretty much wear like all CCM stuff. I got CCM skates, CCM stick. I actually my whole equipment from head to toe is actually CCM. So I think it's a great company, and I think I've just kind of stuck with it for most of my career, and I'm pretty used to it. Like, I just kind of get the same skates and sticks every year now. I just kind of have my specs down. So I was particularly particular with my sticks, like when I was just kind of trying to find out like what I like most. But I think now I just kind of know what I like, and I can just kind of play and whatever. I'm not too worried about what my equipment's doing, or if there's a malfunction or anything like that. And we got a good equipment manager who can take care of that, so you don't have to. So I think I'm not crazy about my stuff or anything like that. But yeah.
Okay, so you're not doing the Yarmer Yager routine where you're sanding your sticks
Oh,
for an hour. Yeah,
no, that's not me. No, no,
that's
no.
probably a good habit to not have. It seemed to
I
work
think
for
so.
him, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
What stick flex and what kind of curve are you rocking with?
I'm using a 75 flex right now, and my curve's like it's kind of like a custom. It's like a P90, so it's kind of a little
Okay.
flatter, but it's got a little bit of a toe hook as well. So I like it for like slap shots and stuff like that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, a little bit of the
yeah,
Stamkos
yeah,
setup. I like that. Okay.
yeah,
That makes
exactly.
sense. That's one thing offensively that certainly always stood out to me right from the first time I saw you. The first goal you scored, every goal you've scored, you got a big boom and slap shot. And that's a nice thing for a defenseman to have. I'm sure that it started sticking out a little bit when you were younger and you maybe started noticing yours had a little more power behind it than maybe some other kids you were growing up with. When did you start realizing, hey, maybe my shot, looks a little different than the other kids?
Yeah, actually, well, I mean, I always thought I was always kind of a small kid growing up, so my shot was never a part of my game that I really kind of thrived in. And I think, obviously, like you said, for a defenseman to have a good shot is really crucial from the point, and it can result in a lot of goals, especially at the next level. So I think it's something I've really had to kind of work towards and work on. And I think I've struggled in the past about kind of getting my shot off and the strength of my shot. So I think coming into the OHL is my focus to really kind of get a shot going and put some weight behind it as well. So I think I kind of honestly found my shot last year, I would say, and I was able to get some my one timer better and some slap shots from the point. But I think it's been important for my game and how my game's kind of progressed and developed to get my shot down. And I think it still has a ways to go, but I mean it's getting better and it's improving, which is always nice to see. But I think yeah, I mean it's been something I've had to work on a lot over my career.
Well, the work is showing because the Guelph fans are always excited about a Buchy Bomb here and there. It's always an exciting part of the game, and we're looking forward to seeing a few more of those when you get back healthy. I'm curious about this as well. I don't know if you've watched any of these, like some of your teammates have, but this has been an ongoing debate amongst your teammates. The NHL supremacy. I've heard that you think you're pretty good. I've heard some of your teammates tell me you are pretty good, but that Bonesy and Ryan Maguire are the best. Can you confirm that? And where would you put yourself among the latter?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that Bones and Miggsy are probably the top two dogs. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not a huge NHL player, but I will say on a couple bus trips up to the Sioux, I have beaten Miggsy a few times, and he's not too happy about it. So I wouldn't say I'm the best NHL player, but I mean, I like to think I can take down Miggsy and Bones in once in a while. But I mean, they're definitely better players than me. I would say I'm pretty low on the totem pole on the team for NHL players, but once in a while I'll get lucky.
Okay, yeah, I like the humbleness, and I will say that Ryan Maguire did not admit that to me when I had him on. So I'm gonna have a
Yeah, he likes
chat with
he likes
him
to
when
think he likes to
yeah.
think he's a man, but yeah, he lacks some skill in the game for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna have a chat with him when I see him on the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
Very good. When you're on those bus trips, I mean, obviously, you jump on the console every now and again. I know you guys play a lot of cards, hang out. Are you a big movie or show guy when you're on the road at all? Is there anything that you're watching right now that you like? Big Netflix guy? What are you throwing on TV?
Yeah, usually on bus trips, I'm just kind of I'll play cards, just kind of listen to music. But every now and again, I'll get into a TV show. Like right now, I'm just kind of watching Trailer Park Boys for the first time. It's a pretty funny
Oh,
show, but I'm more of a movie guy. I would say me and my dad like to watch some good older movies that I kind of really like. But I would say yeah, every now and then I'll get into a good TV show. But I've watched some good ones in the past, but Trailer Park Boys is the funny one I'm on right now. But yeah,
Trailer Park Boys is a classic. I grew up with that, and if you ever have a chance to see them live, definitely go.
funny.
It's
Okay,
a
okay.
great show. Let's just say there's a
Speaking
lot
of,
of things being passed around. There's some substances. It's a
I'm
good time.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
they know what they're doing. They play to their crowd. That's for sure.
yeah.
You mentioned music. Obviously, I've talked to your teammates about this. It seems like a hard consensus country room that you guys are rolling with here. Are you a big country nut? Is that kind of the thing that you're gonna roll with most of the time?
I like country, but I wouldn't say it's like my favorite genre of music. I'm more of kind of like a
Okay.
older rock guy. That my dad's kind of got me into that when I was growing up. But I used to be when I was younger, I really liked rap, and then kind of got out of that. I would say rock's my favorite, and then I would say probably country would be my second favorite right now. But that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay, well, Bushy, I got to put you on the spot here then because you're changing it up for me a little bit. Pretty
All
much
right.
every guy I get on here, little country. Jake Carabell admitted to me that he's a Swiftie, which
Okay.
I am too. I like Taylor,
Yeah,
but
okay.
you're you're throwing me a different genre here. Throw out some of your favorite classic rock groups.
I really like Led Zeppelin. I like the Eagles. Trying to think here. I'm drawing a blank, but Pink Floyd I really like as well. So it's just kind of all stuff my dad used to listen to, and kind of hear him playing it once in a while because he can play the guitar. He's a guitar teacher, so I think I've just kind of grown up listening to that kind of stuff. So he's kind of really put me on. But I didn't appreciate it back in the day, but I get it now, and I like that music. So
I hear you, man. I had a similar upbringing, and boy, your dad's a guitar. Hey, the Buchinger family, mighty talented people here. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I grew up on all that stuff. AC/DC, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses. Yep, it's
uh,
I'm happy. We've got a bit of a connection here. I can't
yeah,
quite get myself into the country vein. I don't mind it, but I'm more of a rock and metal guy myself, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. On that note, then I wonder, and I've asked all your teammates to do this too, if you could pick a custom goal song, like what are we rolling with?
Custom goal song is tough. I don't really know like many songs that would go well with that vibe. Like I'm trying to think because I listen to more like chill rock music. So I mean, it's kind of tough for me to think about that one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Maybe some
I'm,
rock and roll by Led Zeppelin.
oh, I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good call. Good call.
Pick that into the chorus right after a big slap shot. I think that
Yeah,
that fits just fine at the Sleeman Center.
I can see that. I can see that going down well.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
play well in St. Louis too. I think that
hopefully we'll see.
I think that's something you should consider. All right. And I want to ask you as well. You know, you mentioned your parents, and obviously, I learned this last year when they had the special jersey night for it, and I'm sure they're doing it again. I know that you have a very deep rooted in Indigenous history in your family and Indigenous roots. And I know that that's really, really important to you and your family. Tell us a little bit about what that's like and how important that is as part of your identity. I mean, my best friend, who also, funnily enough, plays guitar, is Indigenous, and it's a super big part of who he is, and he celebrates it. And I'm sure it's the same for you, Michael.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a big part of who I am, and just kind of everything that I've learned about the culture is, it's really neat to me, and it's a really cool part of who I am and who my family is. And I mean, my grandmother grew up on a reserve and lived on it and until she passed away recently. But I think it was, really cool to kind of see the different celebrations they have, and my mom obviously being Indigenous too has really taught me a lot about the culture. So I think just kind of seeing my family and how much it means to them and the culture itself, and just learning about the struggles and the issues right now, and obviously but the positives that go with it. So I think it's a really big part of who I am, and I feel very strongly and passionate about it. So I think it's, I'm really proud to be Indigenous, and I think it's a pretty cool and unique thing as well about me. So I mean, it means a lot to me and my family, like I said. So it's definitely something I'm proud of.
As you should be, my friend. As you should be. Very well said. I'll leave you with this. I've asked all your teammates to do this as well. I've been asking everybody to put themselves in a dream starting lineup. So being on defense, obviously, I want you to throw yourself out there with a defense partner, a goalie, and three forwards. Could be anybody. It doesn't have to be NHL guys, but you're gonna pick a dream starting lineup with yourself on left D there. Who's going out on the ice with you?
Yeah, so I guess in between the pipes, I'll go prime Carey Price. I think that guy was kind of unstoppable. I'll go D
Yep.
partner. I'll go Cale Makar. Up front, I'll go Crosby on left wing. I'll go. I gotta go Gretzky down the middle, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Lemieux on the right wing.
That's a
Kind
lot
of
of
an
skill. I
kind of
like that.
all centerman up front. We'll see how they do. Lots of face-off wins, hopefully.
Well, can't we have to do that at the Olympics all the time? It'll work out fine for
Exactly.
you, Bush.
Exactly. Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
I love it. Kale McCarr, popular answer too. He's in like 80% of these teams. It's
Yeah,
he must be
he can
doing
play.
something right.
Must be. You can definitely play the game decently. So
Well, I would say the same thing about you, my friend, and you're a good kid off the ice too. I really appreciate you doing this, Bush. Best of luck with your health. Can't wait to see you back in the lineup soon, and I really, really appreciate this, my friend. Thank you.
yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Remember, you can find this podcast on all your favorite podcast apps and on the Guelph Storm website as well, across all their socials too. And hey, you want to come down to the Sleeman Center, catch a Buchy Bomb live in action, and see Michael Buchinger and his teammates live? You can do so by getting tickets on the Guelph Storm website or at the box office at the Sleeman Center. That's it this week. We'll be back next week with more Ivy.